Sudan is in the midst of a brutal civil war. It's the world's largest humanitarian crisis. Over 30 million people are in need of aid. More than 150,000 people have died. On one side is the National Army, the Sudanese Armed Forces. On the other, a paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces. Both are accused of war crimes. The RSF recently seized the city of El Fasher. BBC Verify uncovered evidence of it committing atrocities there. And the story of this war goes beyond Sudan's borders. The UN says external support is enabling the conflict. It didn't name specific countries, but one keeps coming up: the United Arab Emirates. Under Joe Biden, the US sanctioned companies it said had links to the RSF. Some were in the UAE. The UAE is being called the most influential external actor in Sudan and the RSF's main backer. The United Arab Emirates and the RSF deny this, but there are multiple allegations, including the supply of weapons and equipment. One US lawmaker has said, "We now know that the UAE has continued arming the RSF." Amnesty International alleges the UAE almost certainly sent Chinese-made weapons, saying it's identified them in images showing the aftermath of attacks by the RSF. The UAE has rejected those allegations. It says these weapons are manufactured outside the UAE and have been on the market for nearly a decade, and that it was untenable that only one country procured them. There are also dossiers reportedly compiled by the Sudanese military. The Guardian has seen them and reports they claim that UK-manufactured military equipment exported to the UAE is now being used by the RSF. And on that, this is the UK's position.
There is no evidence in the recent reporting of UK weapons or ammunition being used in Sudan.
The UAE told us its export control regime is in line with international law and emphasised that before the war, the UAE did have a defence relationship with Sudan's internationally recognised authorities. It condemned malicious misrepresentation of pre-war Sudanese stockpiles as supposed evidence of current Emirati support. In other words, it claims that any weapons supplied by the UAE were already in Sudan before the war began. It also categorically rejects allegations that it provided, financed, transported or facilitated military equipment to the RSF. But is this credible? One think tank notes the denials are despite mounting evidence to the contrary. And this war has changed.
The RSF's ability to project power has increased significantly over the course of the conflict.
The UAE stands accused of helping with weapons and with mercenaries too. Last year it was reported that over 300 Colombians were fighting for the RSF and that they went to the UAE, then Libya, then Sudan. BBC Verify confirmed videos of mercenaries. These gunmen in El Fasher are in RSF positions. And in this video, BBC Monitoring confirmed Spanish phrases specific to Colombia can be heard. We can't confirm where in Sudan this is. This month, the Trump administration urged external actors to cease providing financial and military support. The US Treasury sanctioned a network it accuses of recruiting Colombians for the RSF. One of the individuals, a retired Colombian military officer, is based in the UAE. All of this raises more questions.
We know that the mercenaries themselves have moved physically through the United Arab Emirates, and it's difficult to imagine that that could take place without the knowledge of the government.
The UAE told us anyone providing operational support to an armed non-state actor would be doing so without state authorization, in violation of Emirati law. The US has also talked about countries that are allowing their territory to be used to provide assistance to the RSF. And there are a number of routes in to Sudan. Libya offers one. Flight tracking experts say cargo planes from the UAE have been landing there. We don't know their cargo. We do know the warlord Khalifa Haftar controls this part of Libya. He's widely suspected of supporting the RSF, which he denies, and of being backed by the UAE, which it denies. Somalia offers another route into Sudan. The Sudanese army claims mercenaries have flown there en route from the UAE to the war. And then there's Chad. Reuters documented at least 86 cargo flights from the UAE to Chad. One expert reviewing a video of crates from the planes told Reuters the contents were highly probably ammunition or weapons. The UAE told us these flights form part of a humanitarian air bridge carrying aid for Sudan, including in support of a UAE field hospital near the border. The denials are unequivocal, but there are reasons the UAE would pay close attention to Sudan. The UAE is the second largest gold trading hub in the world, And Chatham House notes, in recent years, most of Sudan's gold has ended up in the UAE. Also, access to Sudan's Red Sea coastline has strategic value. It sits on an important shipping route. And there's the UAE's long-term opposition to political Islam in the region. Until 2019, Sudan was led by the autocrat Omar al-Bashir. Sudan's army has been accused of working with some of the Islamist groups that backed Bashir, which it denies.
However true or disputed that contention is, the idea of a SAF-led government in Sudan is a fairly unpalatable proposition for the Emiratis.
Even if it is unpalatable, the UAE told us it is not a party to this conflict and is not in any way involved in the hostilities. But a former US envoy to Sudan argues they have kept the RSF in the fight. Donald Trump says he'll work with partners in the Middle East, including the UAE, to end this war. For that work to succeed, it will need to address the multiple alleged connections between the UAE and the RSF.